everybody. Welcome back to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. I am one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and alongside me, as always, is the joyful Wisconsinite, Mr. Stoy Yovich.
I was going to say the joyful Wisconsinite. I like blending the two. So.
Yeah, I am.
I suppose out of everybody here, I am the happier Wisconsinite.
Yes, you are. You're the only Wisconsinite right now.
Yeah.
Also joining us, all the way over from Crossroads, the PlayStation podcast, is the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
What's poppin'?
He had some sangria tonight, so he's got sleeves on.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say he's wearing sleeves today.
Disappointed.
Yeah, hold him, Virginia. Leave him alone.
Also joining us from the Boss Rush podcast, Boss Rush After Dark. The writing team, Standard Definition, the woman who does it all,
for real,
the mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
I'm not worthy.
Yes, you are. Don't even
on Arsenal X.
Yeah, now she's on Arsenal X. She's
Xbox game.
She's just like invading everywhere.
Hey, you're actually more of an Xboxer than I am because you actually have a system.
It's true.
I don't right now. Like I just ride the glory off of my Game Pass for PC.
I mean,
all right,
that's fair.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, y'all?
So,
okay, we now LeRon and I talked about this earlier, I wanted to bring this conversation earlier so that because we're all part of the Boss Rush Network, right?
Supposedly.
So we're gonna start with We're gonna start with Stephanie here. What kind of boss would you be in a video game? So, like, say for example, you're in a video game, and all of a sudden the Klimov monster is present. What kind of boss would you be? If you need time to think about it, we can maybe go to Corey, because I imagine Corey's thought of like 5 different versions of himself.
Well, first I want to just make a play off the fact that just a Klimov boss just sounds awful. But since it's Russian, the way I'd be talking would be like, in Soviet Russia, car drives you, or boss beats you, or I don't know how that.
Boss beats you, yeah.
Boss beats you. And because I'm like a huge Zelda nerd, the way to defeat me would be constantly shooting or beating the shit out of my one gigantic eyeball that I have somewhere on my person.
This giant eyeball also wears a tracksuit and gold chains. Like God of War style. This boss fights you God of War style with gold chains instead of, the whatever he fights with.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I'd be pretty formidable. I've done some strength training my pole class, so I'd be hard to take down, but my weak spot is that eye.
Is the one gigantic eye just in the middle of your face? Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like you'd be a giant spider.
Ooh.
Sorry, 1 second. What was that? I missed that.
You'd probably be a giant spider.
Like Goma.
Maybe.
Like a Goma.
Goma. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be.
Okay. All right. I see that. But instead of spider legs, you would have like gold chains or something like that. I get it.
Yeah.
All right,
and
Corey, how about you?
Accent.
I'd probably be some sort of like Sonic Robotnik type villain, because he's always riding in these little fancy vehicles, and I don't really want to like walk around and fight people. I just want stuff to do stuff for me and probably fail, and then I'll start to get something else,
So you'd be a Dr. Wily.
Yeah. I'm not that smart, though. I can't build a robot. I just drive my little car that goes into other robots.
Okay.
That would be me.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Swing a giant ball around from my undercarriage.
So you'd have an easy pattern.
Yeah. Well, it's fair. It's fun. It's fine. What did you guys pick? What did you guys do?
Well, I've got a better answer now because like I got caught with my pants down when that was asked me earlier on the show.
That's all we do with everything. Everything we're just like we totally come up with like out of the blue. So
yeah, well,
that was prepared.
my initial answer would be just like I'd just be some bare knuckle brawler that get in your face, and as soon as I start getting like slapped down, like like I'm retreating to get heals and sending minions after you real fast, and then just getting right back into fight and back to trying to fuck you up again. But I mean, like if I'm gonna be like if I'm gonna be like a super boss or whatnot, because I'm a sci-fi person, like I'm gonna have like a giant mech suit and shit, and like the only way that you're gonna defeat me is like to like immobilize like the different limbs on it. So like you gotta take out the legs and you gotta disable the arms and stuff and force me out of the machine for a minute while it's repairing. And and then you find out how much of a badass I really am, because like I can fight outside the damn suit. I just choose to use the suit so I don't get my hands dirty.
Question: will the LeRon boss also be wearing a sleeveless shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The robot arms.
Hold on. No here's the thing about it. Like, because we've seen all these sci-fi movies, the more skin you have exposed, the better your interface is with the technology.
It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, that's just like female armor back in the Middle Ages. I mean, the less armor you had on, the more protected you were.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not.
Am I right, Steph? Am I right,
Yep.
Steph? I mean,
That's exactly how it works.
yeah. Okay. All right. See,
So I mean, I'm not saying. I'm not saying when you pop me out of the armor, I might just be wearing a pair of Spanx or whatnot, but it is what it is.
Hey, that's a tactic too. It's a shock factor.
Yeah.
Which warrior back in the day would run into battle completely naked to throw people off?
Goose. I don't know if that was a real warrior, but I know Ghosts and Goblins. Like,
Yeah,
if you lost your armor,
Yeah, you knock him out the armor. He's running around in his boxers.
Yeah. But all I know of that.
Wow. Anyways, that was a good icebreaker.
Hold on,
I love it.
Stoy didn't get a chance to tell us. Like he had a good one.
I mean, I was thinking about. No, I don't actually. I would be a 2-hit kill boss, because I'd be like a dual wielding rogue or something like that. So I'd be the fast, stealthy one in the group. So like I would just like sneak up on you and just like stab you in the back 30 times, and then like kickflip away, and then like throw a smoke screen, and then just go hide somewhere, and then make you like slash barrels the entire time trying to find me. And I'm right behind you the whole time, so I do the same thing again. But like if you actually like caught up to my pattern, it would just take 2 hits for me, and then I'd be like, and then I'd be dead.
So basically, you're like Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear Solid, because basically, like he did all these parlor tricks on you, and all it took was like 2 solid shots from the what was it, SOCOM that you had, and he was done.
Yeah. So kind of like that, except I mean, I would actually attack you.
You would taunt people. You would taunt people, tell them what their favorite video game is and what their worst accomplishment was.
Right? Yeah. No kidding. Wow, you saved 30 times already. Way to go, bro.
Or taunt them for how they never got the trophy of the achievement in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like it. What a nice variety of bosses we make.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Who do we come up with? LeRon, you had a really good one for David Lasby, or maybe that was Pat, where he came up with where he'd be like a necromancer.
Yeah.
He would like summon the zombie hordes like every time, and they'd do his bidding the entire time, and he would just stand there looking menacingly.
Because if that's not him in real life, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or either that, or like everyone that knows anything about David Lasby here at Boss Rush, they know that this dude is all about, like, if he's not about Legend of Zelda, he's all about freaking like xenomorphs in the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
So that'd be his thing. He'd have a hive of like xenomorphs that you're just ready to pounce on you.
Honestly, I'm imagining Corypheus from Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm imagining him to be that way. So, I was thinking about Eddie, and I was going with Josh's Gohan, like the large suit guy with like a big hammer. I could see Eddie being that, but like being like the kind of like Jester Joker that would just like taunt you the entire time. Yeah, that'd be Eddie. Maybe. We'll have to think about this a little bit more.
I mean, we have time. Boss Rush Banter. What villain are you? There you go. Free idea out there for our writing team. So we have a few questions, guys, that we're going to answer before we really get into the meat of the show. We have a couple from Discord. We have one from Twitter. It's a good time. Good questions. So, Austin, via Discord, also Crossroads co-host, asked, what future third parties would you like to see come to Game Pass day one? All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like a realistic sort of take, I think, would be, Hogwarts Legacy would be a one to go after.
Ooh, I don't think, no. I mean, that'd be nice, but no.
Well, here's the
I was going to say, I don't think
they
it'll
want
happen,
money.
but I would love for it to happen, yeah.
Well, here's the thing with like a lot of people are saying they're going to boycott that game because of the, the
JK.
Yeah, and
Harry Potter fans.
Wow.
like and I think if they want to get ahead of that, maybe they would make a deal. Plus, like there was like a developer that had some controversy around him either, although I don't really know what that controversy was or why it was taken so out of context or whatever. But it's a conversation for a different show, I guess. I don't know. I think that's one maybe you could get realistically. I don't think you're going to get Suicide Squad or Gotham Knights, right? Batman is just too big of a brand. But I could potentially see Hogwarts Legacy. Potential. It's potential. Low potential. Some potential.
Well, I would be stoked if that was the case then.
Yeah. It'd be awesome.
I think there was talks, I think, when Dying Light was first unveiled at E3, or one of the bigger gameplay reveals was at the Xbox press conference, I think in 2019 or something. So I could see that being a Game Pass on day one, like they shadow dropped that maybe like a few weeks before, like, hey, it's going to be on Game Pass day one. I know they don't have a partnership, but that would be a really cool one. I would like to see that.
I think there's potential, right? Like I don't think that's a big stretch.
No.
Go ahead, Stephanie. Sorry.
No, it's all right. And hopefully I didn't make a mistake here because I was trying to do my research before the podcast. And out of like all what I was looking at, I was trying to look for what would be cool, but also what would be one of the more reasonable ones. Stalker 2. I think
that is.
It is coming to Game Pass on day one.
Is it? Oh, damn it! Yeah. I was like, oh man,
there you go.
Good call, Stephanie.
That's obvious. Then just give me. See, I told you. LeRon just shaking his head, judging me.
No, that wasn't judgment. Actually, no. I was scrolling through something on my feed, and I was just like, no. As far as the future third-party game that I would like to see come to Game Pass day one, you know what? I would love to see a game like the Callisto Protocol, hit Game Pass day one. But I have a funny feeling. Because this is a former studio, like from EA and stuff like that. They're not going to shackle themselves to like a major platform like that. They're going to try and do it on their own. Mm-hmm. For the most part, but I would love to see something like that, like show up on Game Pass day one. And it's not even that I'm trying to be a cheap ass gamer or nothing like that, because I typically do pay for my games, and then get pissed when they immediately go on sale and get slashed.
Oh, you should You should not. You should just wait. You should just wait.
No, because then developers get pissed off at us, and it was like, you should buy our games at full fucking price.
Oh yeah.
Like Days Gone.
Yeah, that's where we got that.
Yep.
That's exactly where we got that from.
Yeah, because we talked about talked about Jeff Ross being butthurt.
I'm all for I agree with him that studio kind of got shafted, even though that game sold pretty well, right? But just shut up 100%. Already. Just shut up.
Yeah, you need to stop. You need to stop crying about it. I mean, because eventually what's going to happen is he's going to get such notoriety in the industry that nobody's going to want to hire him because he's like a giant whiny baby.
I mean,
that was kind of like David Jaffe was the same way. David Jaffe was the same way. When he left the God of War team to do his own thing, he was very vocal and against the video game industry, and now
he still is. He's YouTube. He's a YouTuber now. He does
and a podcaster. Yeah, he has his own podcast.
Yeah, which is pretty good, by the way. I listen to it.
Yeah. His show is pretty good.
I mean, I get it. I get defending your game, right? But it's over, man. that first year, like, I get it. Maybe into that second year, like, maybe when you're about to leave or whatever, like, yeah, defending your game. But, like, it's been almost 3 years now. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Be happy that you completed the game. Be happy that it was reviewed well. Be happy that it sold well.
Yeah, it sold, what, 7 or 8 million copies? Like, it did well.
Well, we don't know. No one knows.
We don't know. We don't know the real numbers.
So,
and Sony doesn't care.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's over. Just relax. Relax. It's like Don Matrick for the Xbox One. Get over it. Or deal with it.
Get over it.
Deal with it. I'm just... So my thought process through this was, like, thinking of multiplayer games that, like, you could get away with not, like, almost going into Game Pass in, like, a free-to-play style way to where, like, you know, Hogwarts Legacy is a multiplayer game that you're probably going to have cosmetics or skins or power-ups that you can buy or whatever, right? Like, that's...
Really? It's going to be a multiplayer game?
Yeah.
There's going to have a multiplayer component? Oh. Man.
It's like it's going to... I think my assumption is that it's going to be like almost like a Borderlands-esque style game where you can, like, drop in, drop out co-op, beat the whole game by yourself or with friends, find stuff out on missions and stuff. That's my assumption, at least.
I thought it was going to be just like an open world, like, kind of traveling through and maybe go through, like, little hub worlds out and about every now and then.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we really don't know a lot, right, about this game?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The other game I was thinking about, though, was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Because, like, I'm not hearing anything about that game, right? And
I have no idea what that game is.
It's that Borderlands.
Which is funny because
game.
I know what it is, but I don't know what it... Like, whatever.
It's Borderlands. Like, it's just a Borderlands spinoff. It's just Borderlands, but set in this Tiny Tina's.
Yeah, but is it a first-person shooter? Is it a...
Yeah, it's literally...
But I also see, like, dungeon crawling. I also see, like... kind of real-time strategy elements to it. Like, is it all of it?
Yeah, it's like a tiny Assault on Dragon's Keep or whatever, that DLC for Borderlands 2, but they made a whole game out of it. And, like, it's like dragons and magic mixed with guns. So, I don't know. I could see that just because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of buzz around it. My thought.
I mean, I think Borderlands has kind of run its course.
Yeah. Plus, like, I mean, I know 3 sold well, but I didn't hear anything after it came out, like if people really liked it or not.
Yeah.
Should we move on to our next question?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Deshaun from Twitter says, "Yo, what studios do you think Microsoft will purchase this year? Rumors are brewing." Sega. Why do you think they're going to buy Sega?
It's a natural fit. I mean, Sega and Microsoft have had a partnership for so long, and I don't know if Microsoft would outright buy them, but at the very least share, like, a more exclusive partnership.
Yeah. Well, they already signed that deal. I mean, I know it's like a tech deal for Azure, but I mean, it's, you know, they're going to make super games out of it, they say. Super games.
But I think it makes sense because, you know, in terms of Sega, I mean, it would benefit Sega more because, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess now that I think about it, it would benefit Microsoft more to hit into the Japanese market, but it would also benefit Sega just as equally because then their publishing arm would get a huge boost, and they can actually make the games that maybe they want to make, they really want to make, like a new Shinobi. Cowards.
Yeah, plus, like, you think about it, Sega owns Atlas, which would be Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, whatever else Atlas publishes. So they would get that JRPG crowd that they've been trying to get since the 360.
Yeah.
And those Persona dancing games. Come on. Who doesn't want that on Game Pass?
Dancing all night.
Well, it'll give Just Dance 2022 a run for its money.
You gonna buy that one too, Steph?
Nope. Done with that. Gone are those days.
I honestly don't know what to say because I feel like Microsoft and Sony are just pulling the rugs out from underneath us every time we hear an acquisition is happening. So I have no idea where to go. Like I So I really couldn't say. Like, I'm kind of in agreement with Stoy about the Sega thing, because I have a funny feeling that like I would like to see somebody pull Konami, but anyone that has a choice, who has any type of leverage, that would probably be Sony. But
I could see that more. Yeah,
I can't predict where Microsoft is going to go next, honestly. So I really don't know.
Yeah, I would.
But the logic is sound. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think Asobo Studios is a pretty decent acquisition for them. They did Flight Simulator. They do the Plague Tale games. I think that would be a pretty smart move for them, since they kind of know how to use the tech that they're trying to sell, it seems. So that would be probably a smart move for them. Also, I don't know. I think Splash Damage would be a decent fit, especially if they're going to start doing spin-off games. Like, I mean, they did Gears Tactics was their latest title, which is really, really good. I've been playing that. And I don't know. I think if they're going to start doing spin-off style games like Gears Tactics and more Halo Wars and stuff, that would be pretty smart. Although Halo Wars would actually go back to Stoy's Sega prediction, because Sega developed Halo Wars 2. Because they have Creative Assembly, which could also help out with Age of Empires or something, too. So, I mean, I actually would really like them to buy Sega. I've been wanting them to buy Sega for years, but that seems like Stoy made a really, really good argument for that. I don't know where to go from there now. I had two really good ideas, and then Stoy was just like, your ideas, knife, stab,
Should
twist.
I come up with a bad idea?
No. You mean like the time Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo?
Yeah, you remember that?
Remember when Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo and they laughed him out of the room?
Did you try to copy Stoy's
I did, shut
signature?
Up. You know what?
It's fine. I take it as a compliment. Yeah, you remember that when Microsoft was like, we want to break into the video game world, and someone in the room said, why don't we just buy Nintendo?
And then they all made shirts that said, Microsoft knows games, which proves that you don't know games.
We just buy our way into it. I mean, let's admit that's what they've done over the last couple of years. It's like buying studios left and right, which is good. They should, the problem is that they got to play catch up.
Yeah.
Sony's been doing that for years. Nintendo's been developing their internal development teams for years and years and years. And Microsoft's just been like, Gears of War, Halo, Gears.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Gears. Like, I would like them to, the perfect studio for them to buy too, honestly, is Playtonic, I feel like. Even though they just got that big investment from, Tencent or NetEase or something, some Chinese conglomerate. Just because they know how to do Banjo and Conquer. And, like, one of the big things floating around right now is that Microsoft has no kids games. Like, no kids games whatsoever, except for Super Lucky's Tale, which is like, man, rough. But I mean, they could come back and make Banjo, and then they basically just be Rare 2.0. I don't know. That's my thought. There was a rumor last year floating around that they were going to try to repurchase Bungie, but I don't think that's happening.
No, I don't think they have a lot of money left over from the Bethesda acquisition. I really don't.
That's not true. They already made all that money back.
I know, but like, man, that's a lot of money to be thrown around.
They're Microsoft. They have like
even Microsoft
they're a $1 trillion company. They have $993 billion left to spend.
I know, but
just give Bungie $10 billion and call it a day. Make Matter and their other IP, their new IP, just an Xbox exclusive. It'll be fine. It's a multiplayer only game. You can just sell them skins and battle passes and farts. I don't know what else this game has. Anyways,
clearly you know more about it than I do.
I know. I do a Destiny podcast. We talk about Bungie every week.
Oh yeah.
Which is great, especially when they don't give you any news the week you come back from break. and we sat and talked about Mass Effect for an hour and 15 minutes, which was fun. Don't get me wrong, Mass Effect's great, but
kind of related.
It is. It's a space adventure.
Space opera.
You create your own character. You make friends, and I mean, I've never really fucked anybody on my
Made
fire
friends.
team, but yeah, that's even worse. Now I feel sad. I have no friends. It's okay.
Were there rumors about, since there are several rumors, about them looking at IO Interactive?
There were rumors, and I know they're publishing their like project, what is it called? Project Dragon or something. They do have a publishing deal with one of their new IP, but
Kane and Lynch 3? Is it finally going to happen?
That would be cool, but they got to get through.
Stop it. No, it wouldn't.
Dude, I think if they did a Kane and Lynch game right, it would be cool, but they're not going to.
No, yeah.
But that
I feel that IO Interactive would be like a reasonable buy and would help diversify their portfolio. I mean, for me, like Sega would still be the dream idea, but I feel like maybe if IO Interactive might be like a, I don't know, low hanging fruit. I don't know what you want to call it.
I mean, there's a couple rumors floating around out there right now of who they actually could buy, because WB has been, whatever the big overarching thing of Warner Brothers and Time Warner, what is it, Warner Media or something, has been looking to offload their gaming division, and a lot of people are pointing at Microsoft to buy their gaming division, which would be like NetherRealm, and they would get Mortal Kombat, and they would get, WB Montreal, they would get Monolith, they would get Rocksteady, they would get like 4 or 5 really great studios, plus a couple mobile studios, which would obviously keep the cash flowing in because it's a mobile game and boom, whales. But the other one, that has been kind of floating around a little bit is the Western arm of Square Enix, which would be Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and who was the other Western developer? There's 3 developers in that package as well, which means they would get Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, whatever else they're working on. I don't know what else they work on. They just work on Marvel games
WB
now,
Montreal is working on Gotham Knights.
I know. And Rocksteady's working on Suicide Squad. I mean, you wouldn't get the DC license, obviously, because Warner Brothers makes it. But I think if you bought that, right, and like the way that Sony and Disney kind of seem to be having some sort of deal, right, with Marvel and timed exclusive for Star Wars stuff, the next biggest thing would be DC and Harry Potter, right? I mean, you could go after that, I think. And Lord of the Rings, those are three pretty big properties that Disney doesn't own.
Interesting.
I think owning franchises beyond video games I think Disney definitely learned that with Star Wars.
Right.
When EA just pretty much mucked up the universe with all those games that they were working on, and what do we get out of it? Battlefront 2?
We got 2 Battlefronts and 2 Fallen Orders and Squadrons, I guess. Right? Squadrons was okay, I guess.
Squadrons was good. I mean, you got Battlefronts, that one, and Fallen Order, and then that's it. Yeah. That's what you did.
And, Fallen Order 2, which we'll talk about later, right? Like, theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not a lot of production out of EA.
No, definitely not. So,
I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, if they bought like the Warner Gaming Group, they wouldn't get those licenses outright, but I'm sure they would try to package it together, say, hey, we want like an exclusivity deal. If we buy your studios, we also get the exclusivity deal to make DC games for 10 or 15 years or whatever. I can see that. All right. Thank you for writing in. Remember, you can tweet at us, join our Discord, all that good stuff. Ask us questions. We like it. Quick housekeeping. This is Arsenal X the Xbox podcast, part of the Boss Rush Network. You can catch us live on Twitch every Sunday night or on podcast services and YouTube on Tuesday mornings. If you listen on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a 5-star rating. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out all of our shows and content on bossrush.net. Also, store update. Get your Arsenal X merch on the Boss Rush store. We're adding a new design. It's cool. So it's going to be a surprise to everybody. Very excited. We have shirts, stickers, mugs, hoodies, and more. Check it out by clicking on the store icon on our website. It's very exciting. Very, very, very exciting. Look at that. Look at Stoy's shirt. Love it. Love it, Stoy. Look at that.
Nice. Sick.
Sick.
I'm going to tell you, the T-shirts fit very snug.
Yes. I would suggest T-shirts getting a size up.
Oh, so right up my alley.
Right up my alley too, bro. Like I'm a medium all day, every day.
All these skinny kids up here. Oh, this shirts fit my body because I'm just, my body's made for wearing tight shirts.
European cut. That's all I gotta say.
If it doesn't feel like a second skin, I don't want to wear
it. Yep, same. 3 words. European cut.
I don't like that. I don't like that. We're gonna jump into what we've been playing. What? Huh?
Oh no. No, I'll talk to you about it offline. I just looked at all the different designs in the store and I got excited.
Oh gosh.
Oh boy.
What happened? Wait, what design? What design?
It's nothing bad. No, it's the standard def design.
Which one?
The Marvel one.
What's wrong with it? Did I break it? Is it wrong?
No, I gasped because it's beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh,
I told you to move on.
I thought I broke it. I thought I spelled something wrong or something.
It's so awesome. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
so guys, go get your merch.
Yeah, you should check out our new shows, by the way, Standard Definition and After Dark. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Network. You can join there and get 4 shows early access if you want them. If not, no big deal, but you should because it's fun.
Because it is a big deal. Anyway.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're going to jump into what we've been playing and some weekly pickups. If you picked up anything, Stephanie, we're going your way first. What are you playing?
I had a slow week in gaming. Because I finished Guardians of the Galaxy, I really wanted to dive back into, and I know this is Arsenal X, but I've just been playing Ghost of Tsushima because I put a hold on that and I want to finish it. But I know I need to get on the Mass Effect train, so I will be downloading it from the Legendary Edition from Game Pass, and I will be starting that.
Yes, ma'am. Do it.
Another series coming out, Standard Definition, by the way. Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting it as soon as I finish Guardians, too. I'm starting it.
Hold on. I thought Stoy and I were running this one.
Whoa!
We are.
Why are not? Whoa!
LeRon, it's okay.
Whoa.
We are. LeRon,
okay.
Whoa.
Okay. I was
Corey.
sure.
Ignore Corey. It's us. It's our thing.
Whoa. Continue, Stephanie.
No, that's really it. I had a very slow week in gaming.
Wow. I don't like either of you right now. Pass.
What?
Okay.
LeRon, what are you playing right now, LeRon?
Hey! I can't help it right now.
I'm playing Monster Hunter and rolling my sleeves up because I'm not used to wearing them.
Hey, I can't help it right now. If Stoy and I have a better vibe right now on the show. I can't help that.
Wow.
No, I am playing fucking Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. Yeah, I stayed up half the damn night last night adding mods and elevating the experience because there's just some things about Mass Effect that even though EA and BioWare said that they were gonna make it right for us, they did not, and stuff like that. So yeah,
so
I started adding mods.
Do you remember when I talked about the Mass Effect YouTube channel took down their trailer?
Yes.
It's back up now, apparently.
It's back up? Okay. I wonder what that was all about. I wonder.
Yeah, but it was weird because they moved it to their official channel.
Mm-hmm.
They moved it. They took it off the BioWare.
It took off BioWare and moved it to Mass Effect.
Yeah. Okay. Or it's been on the Mass Effect YouTube channel the whole time. Because I was thinking about it because I was like, it's weird that they would just take it down because there were speculations of what's happening at BioWare? Are they in trouble? Did they stop making Mass Effect? Are they going to rewrite the story now? And people are like, they took down the trailer. Why? BioWare fans are something else, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, but yeah. So I feel like right now until I get my TV mounted because my TV is not mounted. It's still sitting on the floor back there. and I refuse to be one of those. I refuse to be one of those guys like, you know, back when we lived in our 20s where our TV was on the floor and we didn't have, and all we had was a mattress and a blanket and we were playing video games on the floor. I refuse to be that guy. Like, I'm out on my TV, so until I'm out my TV to get my PS5 and Switch back up and running, I'm just playing.
Man, you got to stow your pride. You got to stow that pride.
No, screw that. I want to sit down in my comfy computer chair, play my damn Mass Effect Legendary Edition, recruit Garrus to my squad and shit, and be like, I'm Garrus Vakarian. This is my favorite spot on the Citadel.
Wow.
Okay.
All
right. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, I know. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I want to punch reporters in the face too.
That is a fun thing. Also, pushing people out the window is also fun.
See, what game was that in? Because I don't think I ever.
I think it's in 2 because it's more. I think it's Morton's mission, right?
Thane's mission.
Is it Thane's?
Thane's mission. Yeah, yeah. That's where you're climbing the tower, trying to beat him to the end there.
Mm-hmm. I may have to go that route. I told myself I would recreate my exact experience from my first run through Mass Effect on this one.
Why would you do that? Just do your own thing. Just make your own choices, LeRon. You can't think about. You can't.
Because I want to see it all shiny and new this time.
You can't. You can't think about what 27-year-old LeRon would do. You got to think about whatever 42-year-old LeRon is doing.
Hey, why don't you be like everybody else playing Mass Effect and make the same decisions no matter what playthrough every single time?
Yeah. Okay, so actually no, Stephanie hasn't played Mass Effect, so I don't want to start talking about controversial decisions that you should or should not make. All right, I'm done though. Like, Mass Effect Legendary Edition is all I've been playing for honestly the last week now.
Cool. Stoy, what are you playing? Oh, sorry, LeRon.
No. I was just going to say my PC is my only viable gaming system I have hooked up right now.
That's first world problems right there.
As on the video, you see the PlayStation 5 behind.
I got all my video game systems tucked away in a corner, and I can't play them. Woe is me.
It's not
LeRon. All I got hooked up is my high-powered gaming PC. Oh, woe is me. Oh man. I've been playing Psychonauts 2 a lot. I really like how they delve into the human mind and make it's just really smart game design. Like, Double Fine's always been really good at pushing the genre in terms of game design and like bringing something new and something that kind of makes you think. This one especially, like, I know I'm kind of late on the train of playing Psychonauts 2, but I'm finally getting into it. I'm maybe about like a couple hours in. I'm only in the level where you're trying to convince your boss to separate risk with separate risk from like bad to good risk. And when you kind of sever that connection of, I guess, Stephanie, do you know what I'm talking about with this game?
No.
Okay.
But it's okay.
No.
I'll keep nodding.
I know what you're talking about.
I know. So I should go back and explain. Psychonauts 2 is a game where you actually have psychic abilities to enter people's minds, and you can almost see and live in a world of their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions.
It manifests.
Yeah. It manifests into a physical world that your character, in this case Rasputin, can touch and interact with and stuff. And so you have enemies like guilt. You have enemies like anger, frustration, sadness, all this stuff, whatever. So like you have all these like emotions that manifest themselves as enemies to you, and then you have some enemies called ciphers, where like they stamp out things that don't belong. So they come at you with these big rubber stamps, and whatever. They're easy enemies to dispatch, but you get into these moments where you're trying to connect these person's thoughts to try to maybe not necessarily cure them, but maybe kind of come to grips with whatever emotional trauma that they go through. So in this particular moment, I really like the way that you disassociated risk with bad feelings and bad emotions, and you changed it to be risk equals good. What you then unlocked is now this person has a gambling addiction that they stuffed away. And now all of a sudden they've developed a compulsive gambling habit that manifests itself in the game story. And now you have to fix that, but you have to delve into why that was there in the first place, why that was tucked away deep inside their memory banks or whatever. And it's really kind of like a slow story of just like, okay, the pieces are starting to make sense. You know, they give you little nuggets of information and then, you know, little obscure references of just like, oh, what is that supposed to mean? What is this supposed to mean? So it's really got me intrigued to play more if I can't stop freaking playing Dragon Age Inquisition all the time. But I'm also playing Little Nightmares 2. That. Oh, that game is so freaky. Like it's so uniquely. It's not scary, at least for me, but it's kind of morbid, dark, just man, it like the atmosphere is so dark and foreboding and just spooky. They did a really good job of this. The first one was good, and I think they really nailed the atmosphere in this one like to a T. And I'm playing this game, and I actually got to a really good part where I'm starting to advance in the story, and I'm starting to see a correlation between one of the main enemies in the game and your character. And there's got to be some kind of like trauma that maybe you're living inside your head. I'm not at that point yet where I have all the answers, but I'm seeing a correlation between some of the enemies, some of the settings that you're in that maybe tell a larger story, because there is no hand holding in this game. Like there's no, oh, here's the story. Here's what's happening. Here's what this means. Here's what that means. It's all like up for interpretation. And I really kind of like games like that because it really makes you think all the way through. So yeah, that's cool. Really kind of, those are the main games I've been playing. I ended up picking up The Pedestrian. That's on Game Pass. That just came out on Game Pass last week.
Cool. That's
really, it's a puzzle game.
Yeah, it's the one where you're like the little guy on the street signs, right? And like jumping through the street signs as like you see traffic going. Yeah, that game looked really neat.
Oh, it is actually. It's really unique, really fun. It's really satisfying when you start to nail down some of the harder puzzles. Mm-hmm. And there's so many different facets of it, like trying to navigate between different like signs and connecting lines to travel through like this sign to that sign to that sign, but like also trying to carry objects through with you and stuff. It's a fun game to play. Like amazingly, it's on Game Pass, and you know it may seem daunting at first. Sometimes you get to a mode or you get to an area where it's like, man, how am I going to beat this? But once the gears start to turn and you start to really connect the dots in a literal sense, it becomes so satisfying when you actually complete a section and move on to the next one. It's really good. So
cool. Yeah,
nice.
I'm going to download that because I really wanted to play that when it came out, and I was like, well, it'll probably be on Game Pass at some point.
Yeah, it is right now.
Right now.
Right now. Go.
I'm going to log into my app so I get my 5 free Microsoft reward points that I can trade in later for a gift card. You know, when I get 8,000 more. Oh, man.
What have you been playing?
I have been playing. So, yesterday I played some Destiny with my friends, and I finally got the Halo 1 pistol, the Forerunner. It's called the Forerunner in this game. But it's it's the Halo 1 pistol to a T. Like, when you zoom in, it literally brings up the Halo 1 reticle. Headshots, it does a 3-shot burst. Headshot, dead. Everyone's dead in 3 shots. Doesn't matter what you're fighting. This thing is stupid. It's so stupid. Like, I don't know how they're going to balance this weapon going forward, because it's... I don't understand how they let this into the game. I really don't. It's nasty. I mean, I do, but like...
You think 343 is going to come after the original creators?
No.
Halo would be like, hey, you can't use that.
Okay, so the Halo weapons in Destiny they're not really Halo weapons. They're Halo-inspired weapons, but you know which weapons they are, right? Like the BXR-55 is clearly the battle rifle. And the Forerunner is clearly the Magnum. Even the quest is called Magnum Opus. Like, that's the quest that it's called to go get it, right? I mean, you can clearly see that that's what they are. So yeah, I ended up getting that. We did the dungeon, and I got the I got the the Halo laser, the spanker from Halo, like the big laser weapon.
Yep.
They have an ornament for one of the rocket launchers for that weapon, and I ended up getting that as well. So
It's called the Spanker.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and
Nice.
so I ended up getting that. I have all of the Halo and Marathon weapons now. All I need is the Marathon armor set, and I have all the 30th anniversary gear. So I did get the helmet, which is cool. I just need to get. There's 4 other pieces I need to go get. So I don't know if I'm going to or not, but I at least wanted the helmet, and I got the helmet. So I did that, and then I've been playing Metroid Dread on Switch, which I finally got past the part that I was banging my head at because I found an elevator that I didn't know was an elevator, and
What
now I
was the
feel
part
really
you
stupid.
stuck at?
I don't. It's in that second area. Maybe the third area. I don't remember. But man, I was banging my head against the wall so hard, and it just there's an elevator, and I didn't know. Whoops.
Oops.
And I ended up getting that the wide shot, I think is what it's called. So
Yeah.
and then last but not least, I've been trying to plow through Guardians of the Galaxy so I can start Mass Effect. And Guardians of the Galaxy, the longer I play it, the more I don't want it to end. I love it.
It gets better.
I know. Yeah. I'm on chapter 11 right now, I think. And it's just I don't know. The characters, I love the world. I love the characters. I love how ridiculous the story is getting with like I guess like the main group that you're like that is growing. I don't really want to ruin it, but like it's awesome. The cult. Yeah, the cult. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, the cult.
I love it. I love man, even Star-Lord is like I know he kind of looks ridiculous, but his personality is growing on me, you know.
Mm.
So, what were you gonna say, LeRon?
No, I was about to say, hey, Stoy, does it seem like we're just basically like getting everybody to come to the Mass Effect dark side? Like we've been talking about.
To be fair, I bought Mass Effect Legendary Edition on day one.
We are our own cult too, so they say cults are bad, but
I bought Mass Effect
Legendary Edition on day one too. I did too, and then 2 weeks later, Monster Hunter Stories 2 came out, so I forgot about it.
There's just time to play Mass Effect right now, I think is what everybody has come to the conclusion. Because nothing important comes out until February 22nd for me. So
yeah.
So I'm trying to plow through Guardians so I can play Mass Effect. It's funny how like the relationships you're building in Guardians remind me a lot of Mass Effect in a lot of different ways. I mean, not necessarily like the conversation trees or doing loyalty missions or anything, but like you're building relationships and you're going on these really far-fetched missions together, and it's like, man, this has a lot of Mass Effect in it. It's got a lot of heart in it too, and it's just like, man, love it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to finish it. I wanted to like talk to you guys about how some of your decisions early on actually impacted the final kind of battle or final level, because how you have conversations with certain people or things impacts that.
Yeah, like there was that scene where you're talking to the guy and you're trying to hack his little robot thing. You're trying to let Rocket hack his little robot thing. And like, the better you are at trying to distract the guy, like the longer you're getting him to talk and the more time you give Rocket to fix it. And I failed. And Rocket let me have it. Rocket's an asshole.
He is.
Like, I'm sick of your shit, man. Like,
I didn't.
Star-Lord's just like a little whiny little baby, like, oh, Rocket, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, man, tell him off. Star-Lord needs to grow a quad.
I didn't fail, Stoy.
I know. It's just me. It's my problem. I know.
Yeah.
You guys probably all did it just fine.
No, I failed.
Aw. Next time. But that's all I've been
through.
That's all I've been playing. I did find a Project Scorpio CIB, as the kids say. Complete
inbox.
So, yeah, that's coming. I don't know why. I just did. Pulled the trigger. Boom. Got it. I also found all of the Burger King games.
Oh, really?
Sealed.
Nice.
For $10. So
sealed, huh?
Yeah.
You're not gonna pop those babies open and play them?
I mean, I am. Those would be hilarious to stream, like Pocket Bite Racers or Sneak King. Man, good times. Those were the Gears of War and the 3 Burger King games were the first 4 games I owned on Xbox 360. The girl I was dating at the time bought them for me. I was like, oh, neat.
Wow.
So that was fun. All right, we're going to jump into the news. We have a couple headlines here, and then we'll go into the wrap-up. Our first story here, Ubisoft Plus, the company's own gaming subscription service, is coming to Xbox platforms in 2022. On top of popular modern games such as Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and The Division, the service also includes all add-on content and DLC packs, as well as the back catalog of Ubisoft's published titles, including Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia, Child of Light, Rayman, Beyond Good and Evil, and more. No word on if it's an Xbox deal or a Game Pass deal or not, but all sources are pointing to that it's going to be a separate service.
Yeah, I mean, I gathered as much because I know there's some games that Ubisoft has that are on Game Pass already, and I imagine they're going to stay on Game Pass, especially since we have Rainbow Six Extraction coming out on Game Pass soon, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Rainbow Six Siege, I think, is still on Game Pass. Far Cry, some of the Far Cries, I think earlier Far Cries are on it. I know Blood Dragon is.
Yeah.
But and those I imagine will still stay. But I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Game Pass Ultimate increase by maybe $5 to be like $20 a month to incorporate Ubisoft Play or whatever they call it.
Well, what I was thinking was, I think what Game Pass will start doing is doing what Amazon Luna does, is have like a base subscription, or like what I guess Ultimate, right, is kind of that base subscription now, and then you add packages onto it for like half the price of what it normally is. You know, like I could totally see that happening at some point. Because
we have we have Game Pass is like standard Game Pass, and then Game Pass Ultimate, which incorporates EA Play. So. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ultimate also includes PC and Xbox and cloud too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I mean, I guess you're right though. Like, there's already kind of a tiered system there. So.
Super important question. Do you think Ubisoft Plus, or do you know if Ubisoft Plus will include the Just Dance song library? I think they're separate.
Well, it does.
This sounds like a very important question to a specific person in this group.
So here's the thing. Ubisoft Plus, if you subscribe to it, it is $15 a month, which is kind of steep. But what you get is all upcoming DLC packs and add-ons. But I don't know if that includes a Just Dance subscription service.
I asked because that's how I found out that was such a thing when I got the one copy of Just Dance that I ever got in my life for some teenage some nieces, nephews, and their teenage friends. And you only get like a dozen songs. Like, oh, if you want the full library, you need to subscribe, but you can try a free month. So I did like a free month, but I was just like, how many subscriptions are there? So like, if it's separate, then Ubisoft has 2 different subscription services. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In addition, I just think video game industry is now becoming very subscription heavy, kind of like how the TV industry is now. It's like I know they're different, but Game Pass, Ubisoft Plus, whatever Ubisoft has for Just Dance, Nintendo Online plus expansion pass, and then the PS Plus, PS Now, and the rumored PlayStation subscription. Like, how can we afford all this?
Yeah,
it's literally becoming like the freaking Netflix of gaming. Well, like the streaming service of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do know that like music stuff always has weird licensing issues with it, so I don't know how well that would play into a subscription service, because I also know that they have Rocksmith, which is getting a subscription as well. sometime soon, or it already has one or something. I don't know. I didn't keep up with Rock Smith, even though that's our highest viewed YouTube video ever, which is hilarious from E3. You should see the comments on that video, by the way. They're just hilarious. They're just making fun of us the whole time because we don't know what we're talking about. But I still wonder if you would have to pay for those subscription service, or maybe you get like a discount on the subscription service. But I imagine you would still have to pay for that subscription service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure, honestly. But yeah, incorporate.
I can't imagine a lot of people are subscribed to this.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if that's why it's coming to Xbox, to get more subscribers to it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense because they're also adding Rainbow Six Extraction to Game Pass on day 1, on January 20th, the day the game comes out. That game is coming. Weird. But also, I don't think there's a lot of hype for this game, and they need players to play it. So
honestly, yeah. I do want to play this game. Like I remember I may be one of the few people that were kind of hyped for the game. Like I do want to play it.
I mean, I do want to play it too. I wasn't gonna buy it, but like I want to play it because it's like this co-op experience is way more appealing to me than Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, I know Siege is popular, but like this is way more appealing to me in a lot of ways. So now it's coming to Game Pass. I get to try it out with my non-friends, as everybody pointed out that I have none. Thanks.
Who said that? Who said that? Did Josh Finney say that to you?
No, the person to your right on my screen.
Not I. Well, it takes one to know one, okay? I have no gaming friends either.
Yeah.
Takes a loser to know one, I guess.
Oh gosh. All right, so we're gonna move on.
Don't be like me and just like I just don't want to play it. Period with anybody. So I'm so antisocial when it comes to video games.
Hey, we played. We played Resident Evil together.
Yeah, that was fun. I played Alien Fireteam Elite last night with Josh and another member of our community. So
yeah. See, you're not antisocial.
Stoy,
you're fun.
Occasionally I crawl out of my cave. Occasionally, every now and then.
Occasionally.
Yep.
All right, we're going to move on to our next story. E3 is set to be an online-only event in 2022 after stating concerns of a rise in Omicron COVID cases as the main reason. Though insiders think that the growing concern is elsewhere. Industry analyst Mike Futter tweeted out that the ESA abandoned their dates at the Los Angeles Convention Center back in early November before Omicron was any concern. Is there trouble brewing at the center of the ESA? Ooh.
I don't think the ESA can afford E3 anymore.
Yeah. Especially since that's what, like 70% of their profits come from E3, or their income come from E3, which is...
And they literally have done zero things in the last 2 years, so...
Right. Yeah, like 2020, they totally E3 was canceled totally, and then in 2021 they did that weird hybrid thing, and nobody knew what they were doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then in 2019 they let everybody's personal information leak, which was neat.
Oops.
So.
Well, I mean, definitely seems possible. The writing was on the wall where many people were kind of wondering if conventions like E3 in person anyway was still viable or even relevant. Even though I would have thought they were cool, and maybe just they're leaning on the current concerns of Omicron to maybe make their pride a little less hurt.
Well, it's an easy answer in this point because a lot of people can kind of look at it in its current state to be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense,
Yeah, and it's also one of those things like if I know it's a different thing to talk about like how people now work from home more, but once people figure out having things done online is viable, then it's kind of hard to go back to physical things. I don't know. I need where's my Monster Energy drink? I'm lacking vocabulary right now. But my point is like they achieved it last year. I don't know if they personally saw it as a success, but I mean, they know they can do it online, so why put up money?
You know what they could do is, remember years ago they limited it to like a press-only event? Like they didn't broadcast a lot. They didn't have any of these big showcases. They just invited the press and had all these demos, and the press it was just basically a press show.
Yeah.
There really wasn't any like big showcases or anything like that. They could do that again. Maybe have a developer here and there do like a small little showcase that we stream on YouTube or something like that, but have it limited to just press only to come and test out these demos, test out these games, and talk about it.
Yeah.
Instead of like inviting everybody and their mother to this convention.
Yeah.
The thing
I wouldn't go that even I wouldn't go to that pre-pandemic, for crying out loud.
Yeah. I mean, to have an online only event is going to like almost kill them, because they're charging 6 or 7 figures to these companies to do stuff online when they could just do it for free on their own channel, right? I mean, that is what kind of killed them in last year or 2 years last year, right? And so, you know, they need to somehow switch courses, because PAX and Keighley's Summer Game Fest those two events are really eating their lunch in terms of fan feedback and everything. And what they need to do is suck up their pride and just ask Keighley to come back and like pay him to produce a really good show, right? And that's what they need. Like, I feel like that's what they need to do, because I feel like what they're trying to do is so archaic and so backwards at points that, like, yeah, we all get excited when the press conferences happen and stuff, but like a lot of people forget EA's press conference, not part of E3 technically. Xbox's showcase, technically not part of E3, right? They have their own theater. They have their own time slot before E3 starts, right? Nintendo's just a direct. That's not part of E3. The only thing part of E3 is the Treehouse stuff. You know, and they could easily do that after their presentation, you know, at Nintendo campus. So,
and that's where the ESA is faltering, because conventions aren't dead. It's not the fact that no one loves conventions. People love conventions. There's conventions all over the country that are drawing in thousands and thousands of people worldwide. So it's not that. It's like the ESA has not innovative and offered anything new and enticed any of these developers or these publishers in to give them a reason why they need to come to their show. And I imagine they're charging him a buttload of money and still continuously do so, not realizing that they're signing their own death warrant.
PAX is in April, isn't it? And that's still, at least at this time, is still in-person conference.
Yeah, at this time it's still in person, but you know, I don't know. I think a lot of people are looking at Omicron and being way more cautious about it. I don't know. It just seems like a different. It's so hard. It's so hard because like people that are vaccinated and boosted, you know, get like a headache, and you know, a lot of people aren't getting the symptoms that people are getting when they're not vaccinated. You know, and it's, you know, not to say that a vaccinated person can get really sick from this or even, you know, worse, but it seems like the people who have taken the right steps and stuff, if they get it, it's not as bad, right? So I don't know. I think it's a weird thing to cancel something this early.
So that's why it's led me to believe that there's something else wrong. And they probably tried to entice publishers and developers, and no one's picking up their phone call.
Yeah.
So they're trying to save face.
Yeah.
By saying, oh, Omicron, even though the convention's technically 6 months away, and you know, we'll probably be in a completely different wave at that point. So,
and EA is also part of Keighley's Summer Game Fest now. So that's also a big takeaway, right? And Sony's already pulled out like years ago. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Speaking of E3, our last kind of major headline here, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 is rumored to be revealed before E3 2022, claims multiple sources. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was a bona fide hit for Respawn, capturing the events between episodes 3 and 4 seamlessly while introducing players to an exciting cast of new characters in a true 3D Metroidvania world. All signs point to a Star Wars Day reveal. A quick reminder that EA holds the Star Wars license until 2023. With this would mark only the 5th major title in 10 years. It says 4th in the show notes, but it's really the 5th because I forgot about Squadrons, though it's not really a major title. I'm excited for a Jedi Fallen Order 2. Jedi Fallen Order was awesome.
Oh yeah.
So
I thought Respawn Entertainment was working on a completely different IP.
they are, but they have 3 teams.
Okay, I suppose. Yeah, because they got a team working on Medal of Honor, and
that Medal of Honor
new IP.
That Medal of Honor game came out.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So I mean, they have the new studio they opened in Vancouver for Apex. They have the team that is working on a new IP, and then the third team is presumably working on this.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I like this game a lot.
I would see them having this coincide with May 4th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a Disney property. Disney wants to announce everything themselves. If you know anything about Disney and Marvel and D23, they want to do it themselves. Although it could be at D23 as well, but I bet they're saving it for Star Wars Day. All right, guys, the wrap-up. Drinkbox Studios' top-down action RPG Nobody Saves the World is hitting Xbox Game Pass Day 1 as a timed exclusive, marking the first time that a game from the studio has not made its first appearance on the PlayStation consoles. The game will be playable on January 18th, 2022, and includes drop-in, drop-out co-op if you would like to save the world with a friend. Second, famed developer Hideo Kojima is rumored to be working on multiple projects at Kojima Productions, including one non-gaming related one. Rumors have ranged from working on a Silent Hill game to the Blue Box fiasco to even making a Microsoft exclusive and executive producing a Metal Gear Solid remake. We even know that he opened a branch in Los Angeles last year in hopes of getting a foot in Hollywood, so it seems very likely that he is experimenting outside of games altogether. Lastly, Bungie is hiring for an unannounced project, stealing away a longtime narrative designer from Guild Wars, Tom Abernathy, for the project's narrative lead. Bungie aims to expand into a multiple game studio and publisher, having new IP matter and an unannounced multiplayer-only project running alongside Destiny after its Light and Dark Saga conclusion, as well as opening an office in Amsterdam as their publishing arm.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Bungie needs to stop. I mean, Destiny you could still kind of run for a long period of time, but they need to start making different stuff.
Yeah, I think they want to get new products out because it's really hard to get new players into Destiny at this point. If you're not into Destiny at this point, it's really hard to get into, especially right now with Beyond Light and heading into the Witch Queen. Like, the Witch Queen is adding a whole bunch of crafting elements plus really tackling stories, like loose ends of threads from stories from Beyond Light and the previous expansions that will no longer be available on February 22nd because they do that thing where they take stuff out of the game so you can't play it. So it'd be really smart for them to get some other games in there. All right. We're going to move on to our segment, Pass It On. Stoy, this is your favorite segment of what's coming to Game Pass this week, right now, even though Xbox will announce something tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no kidding, because it always happens that way where it's like a couple days after we record, all of a sudden they drop all this news. Like last week we got Gogora Olaja, which is like some weird pirate game. The Pedestrian, we talked about. Ember, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, that all came out. And Outer Wilds came out last week. So that's really cool. A lot of stuff out there. But next week, or this week, actually, when you're reading this, we're going to get Spelunky 2. That's coming out on January 13th, which, that's kind of like a Metroidvania meets Bomberman. Where you got to kind of like dig through parts of the level, I imagine. The Anacrusis.
Is healthy.
I don't know what that is really. But that's coming out on January 13th as well. And Nobody Saves the World. That's coming out on the 18th. That Corey talked about recently. Paparazzi I know I talked about this a long time ago because I think this was an E3 showcase.
Game paparazzi. Yep.
Where you basically it's a game where you just take pictures of your puppies and your dogs and your animals, and you put costumes on them.
Everyone likes a puppy.
And other things. Yeah. So that comes out on the 20th, but we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, I think Nobody Saves the World looks cool. I've always respected Drinkbox from afar. I mean, they've kind of specialized in Metroidvanias, right? Guacamelee and Severed and Mutant Blob's Attack on Vita. So I mean, like they've done some really cool stuff. I really like their art style, especially in Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2. Like I think those games are really cool.
Okay.
But they're both those games are on Game Pass also, by the way, if you want to check them out. They're great. But Nobody Saves the World looks like another awesome game from them.
Anna Crucis actually is a 4-player co-op shooter.
Ooh.
Where you're on a spaceship and you're fighting alien hordes. And it kind of has this Prey look to it.
Ooh.
But in a very bright setting too. So it looks interesting.
Cool.
I think I remember seeing a trailer for this a long time ago.
Well, Game Pass is it's a nice little treat.
Mm-hmm.
You can just try it out if you have it. You can just download it. You can play it through the cloud. You don't have to download it anymore. You can just be like, oh, what's this game? Boop, 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 boop. Oh, this is neat. I'll download it and finish it. Or not.
Do it. Yeah, you do you.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to get into our topic of the show. What Microsoft-owned franchise has the potential to tell a story as well respected as PlayStation's first-party titles? There's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack here. Obviously, Microsoft has purchased a lot of studios recently. There's a lot of studios that they own that have told good stories in the past, but not under Microsoft's banner. Also, I think a lot of people, when they bring up Microsoft, they think of multiplayer shooters or Western RPGs that, not that they're light on story, but obviously, especially Bethesda, it's about exploring the world and building your own character, right? It's not really about the story. Those stories are cool. So, I think Hellblade has a good chance of moving that way. Senua's Saga has a good chance of heading that way. I always thought Gears 5 told a great story. I really like Kate's story in Gears 5. I think that was the first step in the right direction. Although it obviously, games like The Last of Us and God of War tell pretty, I would say, respected stories in the industry. I think Microsoft is still kind of a ways away from that, but I think Gears 5 really took a big step that way, in exploring Kate's kind of internal struggle and what she had to go through, and then obviously towards the end, the big choice towards the end of Gears 5 is like a pretty traumatic choice for one character or another, depending on which choice you make.
But technically, it doesn't matter in the canon.
I know. Because I
actually went back when I found that out. I actually went back and changed it.
I know. Yeah,
I was like, "What? Come on!"
Yeah. There is a canonical choice, but I still think in the moment though, when you're playing it and you don't know that, either way, you're you feel something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you do. It's not an easy decision to make, no matter which way you put it. But
yeah. I also thought that Perfect Dark, if they now the way they're going with Perfect Dark, I don't think they're going to go that way. But I thought that maybe they could have done something interesting with Perfect Dark. Mm-hmm. But I mean they still could, right? It's not that first person shooters can't have interesting or powerful stories. It's just the way they've been talking about Perfect Dark kind of seems like they're going a different direction.
What do you mean?
I feel like they could have done something explore her past, maybe almost like a Jason Bourne type situation. I don't know if you have seen the Bourne movies, but I feel like they could have tackled something like that, but like I feel like that they.
I didn't know. I didn't read anything about Perfect Dark. What route are they going for?
I mean, they haven't really said anything publicly, but based on what the Crystal Dynamics is helping with the development of that, and by all accounts, their writing team. And don't get me wrong, I love the Tomb Raider games. I think they're wonderful games. I don't think the story is their strongest suit.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like the story might be a little one note, or like it might just be like kind of lighter on story as opposed to,
I guess I'm gonna kind of hold judgment on that. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. No,
I don't like to.
I agree with you. I don't want to judge the story until I play it, but it just feels that way with what Crystal Dynamics has put out over the last decade or so. They're not exactly like masters of storytelling, is all. I mean, maybe the initiative hired some really good writers, right? Maybe they have. I haven't really looked into it. But anyways, anybody else got any cool ideas?
Well, I'm trying to think of stuff that's not so obvious, like how the direction like the Halo series is going. But remember that title? Oh, geez, I had to look it up to see when it was released. That I know people really just want to see it make a comeback. Is Sunset Overdrive?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that could just be revamped, in addition to kind of pump in some fresh storytelling, like that could just be a very strong first party title. Like if they could just completely refresh that franchise and keep it to Xbox. So
yeah, well, technically Sony owns that franchise now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I wish it.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. That game was really cool though. I really liked that game a lot.
It's unfortunate. It would be interesting to see if Sony would ever. Could they? Right? Could they?
What like?
Well, I mean, Insomniac is the one that made the game, right. And they're not only are they working on Wolverine, they're also working on Spider-Man 2. So, I highly doubt they would. Oh
yeah, that definitely wouldn't be a priority. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here trying to think about Xbox properties, and like besides Hellblade and Senua, I really just can't.
You want me to give you a list, LeRon?
Sure, give me a list.
Let's see. I'm looking it up.
I feel like they've made attempts with Halo. I feel like they've made attempts with Gears of War. But I'm trying to think of stuff that like just doesn't.
See, here's the thing with Halo. Halo's story has never been its strong suit in any of its titles. Sure. They've tried to tell meaningful stories, and for some reason, every time they try to retell the story or add a new wrinkle to the whole Master Chief and Cortana relationship, even to this day with Infinite, they need to let that go and start to go into some uncharted territory. Master Chief needs to move on to take on new challenges, because obviously we can't have a Halo without a Master Chief, even though we can. But Microsoft won't let it go, and neither will 343 Studios. Yeah. So what Microsoft, I think, is putting its cards down now is brand new IPs. And I think over the next 3 years, we're going to see a whole metric ton of new IPs with great stories. We got, what Obsidian is working on. We got Perfect Dark. We have, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. There's so many other ones I can't even think of off the top of my head that are going to be new IPs, Starfield, that is going to, I think, impress a lot of people to the point where I think Sony will be shaking in its boots a bit to see what do we got down the pipeline. Can we just pump out a Last of Us 3? Everyone liked Last of Us 3, right? How about a Ghost of Tsushima 2? How about let's have the Mongolians invade again? Sony's going to have to kind of work a little bit of overtime to try to keep up.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have Project Mara also, which is Ninja Theory's other game, which is they're exploring some sort of mental health thing with that, which could go either way. I think if they're not careful, but it's always tough to tell which of these games is going to tell something good, like a good story. It's I don't know. I don't see it. Like, I don't see Avowed telling the most groundbreaking story, right? Grounded is obviously not a story-heavy thing.
You don't think Avowed would be a good story-heavy RPG?
I mean, it could be. It's set in the world of Pillars of Eternity, right? Which is also another IP that Microsoft owns, which has had great stories, I've heard. But I just don't know because I haven't played it, right? It's so hard to tell.
This is the same studio that made Alpha Protocol, my man.
I know. And
they can tell a good story. Fallout New Vegas. Some arguably think that's the better Fallout than any other Fallout combined.
I'm aware, and I think that story could be great. I'm talking about a story.
When did you get so negative, Corey?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm fired.
Everything has just been like doom and gloom. This is going to be a good. This not going to be a good story. That's not going to be a good story.
I didn't say the games weren't going to be fun, but you really think you really think something like Fable is going to tell it like an amazing story?
Yes, it will. Perfect Dark's going to have a great story. Avowed is going to have a great story. Hellblade is going to have a great story. These all are going to be great stories. You got to open your heart.
You know what? I believe you.
You got to open your heart.
You got to open your heart.
Mind.
Let it in.
Here's what has officially been announced in development from Microsoft. Obviously, there's a lot more, but this is what Xbox Game Studios is publishing. Grounded will hit 1.0 release sometime in 2022. As Dusk Falls, which is from Interior Night, the studio who spun out of the Detroit Become Human studio. What's that studio called?
Quantic Dream.
Quantic Dream. Yeah. Avowed from Obsidian, Everwild from Rare, Contraband from Avalanche, Fable from Playground, Forza Motorsport. That's going to tell a great story. I feel.
Oh yeah.
I hope not.
They're gonna follow Grid Legends and all the EA Sports titles and tell a racer's legacy story.
Remember Need for Speed: The Run?
Oh God!
God, I hope they don't.
You could get out of the car. Who buys Need for Speed to get out of the car? Just asking.
No one.
Asking for a friend, guys.
No one.
Perfect Dark, Project Mara, Senua's Saga, State of Decay 3, and Outer Worlds 2 are all announced titles from Xbox Game Studios. And maybe in my head I'm just conflicting a great story with a super serious toned, whatever type of story. And that's probably on me because I especially do not like The Last of Us. I've been on record saying I do not like those games. Partially because of that reason alone, because I just don't care about serious stories, right? And I think that's why God of War isn't really high on my favorite games lists either.
Well, then this might be a tough year for you, Corey, because when we were watching the Game Awards, almost every single trailer had that dark theme, just sad, serious, and gritty.
I know, and I probably won't play any of those games. I'm sorry, that's just not the games I prefer. I'm not saying they're bad games. Those are the games that I don't. I would play Uncharted 1,000 times over The Last of Us and God of War. It's just the games I prefer,
Well, hey, that stuff can get pretty heavy. Like, I can only handle one of those at a time.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, there's been enough shit in real life, not to get super sad or anything, but there's been enough shit going on in my own life to where I don't need my games to be super serious either. I think that's why I'm enjoying Halo so much, is it's just you can just run around and shoot stuff and the story is fine, but not.
Here's a question. Here's a question for you.
Answer.
All right, so we look at PlayStation and we see a bunch of really deep and involving first party like story driven titles and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We look at Nintendo, and Nintendo has basically a good family environment, atmosphere and stuff like that. Whereas Microsoft, I hate to say this, but Microsoft seems to have the co-op and team play thing down to damn near a science.
Yeah,
that is actually, I feel like that is actually a good ecosystem as far as the video games go. Mm-hmm. I really feel because here's the deal about it. The average gamer like usually has one or two of those things that they like. Some people love, thrive off of first party story driven games. Some people thrive off of co-op. Some people thrive off of, and stuff like that. And usually these ways intersect. I feel like this ultimately gets everybody to have multiple systems in their house. I'm discounting the PC for here because the PC is like the natural equalizer. Everything that the consoles has, the PC does have that, But for people who are just specifically console gamers, do not want to spend thousands of dollars on a nice rig to play like 4K, 60 or 120 or whatever, and have ray tracing direct and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
Console gamers usually have multiple consoles in their house, multiple consoles of different makes in their house and stuff like that. So I feel, and yeah, I know, it's really easy to poke fun, at Microsoft, in certain hands, because they don't have a Last of Us, they don't have an Uncharted or a God of War and stuff like that. I get it, but at the same time, it's real easy to turn around and poke, that we don't have Sony doesn't have a good first person shooter. I dare say they haven't had one since before Killzone. What was the last Killzone? 4?
Shadowfall.
Yeah, Killzone Shadowfall. Yeah.
I want to say Sony doesn't do that. Sony doesn't also do a lot of good co-op games and stuff like that. They wait for third parties to do that. Which is why we have our Call of Duties and all this other stuff. Things like that. So I think
to even add to your point, I mean, Microsoft shouldn't be focused on what other developers or what other studios and companies are doing. Is try to find a niche of what's good for you. And like you said, nailing that co-op competitive multiplayer aspect of just Microsoft is a good place. And it has been. It started with the Xbox. It, doubled in size with the 360. And, the majority of Xbox players right now that own the new Xbox have just been Xbox fanboys since the Xbox or the 360.
Yeah.
So, mostly people are favor one platform over the other because that's what they know and that's what they grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you'll change hands. Like, obviously, a lot of people change hands during the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era. A lot of people from Microsoft jump shipped over to PlayStation. But, a lot of people like Microsoft because of the multiplayer ecosystem that they've built.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's why you'll never see a game like State of Decay 3 be widely successful on a Sony platform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people definitely go certain places for certain things, and
no first party Sony titles for first person shooter titles on Sony system equivalent to Halo Infinite.
Yeah. I mean, I think Resistance would be 3 times more popular on Xbox than it ever was on PlayStation.
Oh, hands down, 100%. Like if they bought that license, I agree. That is actually a good point.
Yeah. Side note, LeRon, you can use this for Crossroads on Tuesday if you want. But did you see that Bend pitched an open world Resistance game?
I saw that. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Austin and I were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah. So that's cool. I think I thought that was a cool game. Those were some of the only games I played on PlayStation 3 that weren't.
Resistance was good.
Resistance
was good.
Resistance was awesome.
Yeah.
Way better than Killzone. And I know they wanted Killzone to be the thing because it was like the Halo killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they pitched it as, but they should have been focusing on Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. When publishers and companies focus on trying to outbeat the competition with specific categories and specific facets, that's when you start to see a lot of these failing moments. I mean, we look at Haze as a prime example. Haze was supposed to be the top dog. I mean, after Killzone met with mediocre success, Haze was supposed to be the next one for the PlayStation 3 to be the quintessential Halo killer, and that's what the media marketed it to be. And then when it fell extremely flat, that's when I think Sony was just like, all right, we're done with this. We're not doing this anymore. So, and unfortunately Resistance suffered as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Fable has a really interesting premise. It'll have a really interesting premise because it is that choice-based kind of, you can play good or bad. I think that's where the balance is going to be, is trying to figure out how to you know, because Playground has only made racing games for so long that I really hope that they find a way to. Fable's the one I'm looking forward to, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, and I hope they don't screw it up. Because everything since kind of Fable 3 that they've tried to do with Fable has just kind of been like, you know.
Fable Connect didn't entice you?
Oh, man, the journey where I could scrub my horse. You know? Wax on, wax off my horse.
That didn't convince you that the Connect should be a in every living room?
It's in mine. Complete in box.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
No, I thought.
So, I mean, do we like? I guess to add to David's question, and to Corey's point, because Corey, you obviously don't care about story and narrative as much as me. I care about that stuff.
I didn't say I didn't care about it. I just think
comparatively to me, you care about it less than I do. So, if we were to say, should Microsoft focus and double down more on story-driven titles, or just do what they do best currently?
I wouldn't. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think I care less about. I think it depends on which game I'm going into and what I'm expecting from it. I expect way more.
So, do you think they should double down, or do you think they should just continue driving the ship to where?
I think it depends. I think it depends on what title you're putting out.
Doesn't matter.
State of Decay 3. You really want State of Decay 3 to have as impactful of a story as Avowed?
I mean, they could,
but that's not the type of game it is.
No, yeah, I know. But
I mean, Avowed is like a single player choice based RPG.
So State of Decay is a world building tower, like almost like a tower defense, but like a survival type game. Do you think that game? Do you think? And I'll give you my opinion. Do you think that game would be better with a narrative story? Like a very true, deep narrative story.
I think that's hard to do because the game is, you know, it has a lot of permadeath, and you would have to be able to tell a ever-changing story on the fly.
Yeah.
I think it would be really interesting if they could do that, but I don't think Undead Labs has the chops to do that.
No, I don't, and I agree with you. I don't think they should. I think they should stick with their formula of what they're good at with, you know, the simulation and the survival aspects of that game.
I want to tell you.
Imagine if they were so focused on trying to develop a narrative story and just shoehorned a story into it. It probably would. The game would have probably suffered immensely.
Yeah, if they could figure out how to put a really cool story in a world where permadeath is a thing, I think that would be awesome. Because everybody's story would be different, but it would also be like really intriguing. Almost, it'd be like.
Let's talk to the Fire Emblem developers, see how they do it.
Fire Emblem, that's a cool game. A lot of dude that.
No, it's not. I don't like that game at all.
It's a great game, Stoy.
Sure it is.
It's okay.
A lot of people like it, so I can't discount that.
But like something like Avowed or Outer Worlds, like Outer Worlds 2 has a potential to be just, especially if they somehow nail the comedy aspect of that game, which I think they did a lot well in that first game, but there's a few things in there that I just think didn't hit, at least what I played of it. But I think the Outer Worlds 2 could actually have a pretty intriguing story, especially with a bigger budget behind it.
So, Stephanie, what do you think? Should Microsoft start to double down on this course, or do you think they should kind of stick to what they're good at?
I mean, you know, primarily being a Nintendo fan when I was growing up and just kind of experiencing my frustrations as to why Nintendo stuck to their specific niche, you know, first party, kid friendly, story driven, for the most part. I realized that kind of what makes them super successful, and I'm thinking, you know what, Xbox has a pretty solid identity with those first-person shooters and multiplayer, where I think that they still need to prioritize that. I think that's what makes them unique. And maybe it doesn't mean they can't develop any story-heavy games, but I just don't think it should be a priority. I think they really need to continue standing out and taking advantage of what makes them unique. And you know what? Maybe they can lean heavily on the ID at Xbox. that they can rely on the indie developers that they help fund to put out games that are more story driven, so that they can at least provide story driven games as part of their package, maybe on Game Pass. So there'll still be story driven games available to play on the Xbox system, but that does not need to be part of their, first party identity.
I suppose even adding to that point, I think even just with Microsoft buying all these studios is really diversifying their catalog to have a lot of many things, within their studio umbrella.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plus, like, not that this is a Microsoft IP, but Guardians of the Galaxy really like changed my perception of what like an action driven games kind of story could be. And maybe it's because I don't play a lot outside of like what I'm interested in, and it's something I would like to do more of this year if I have the time. But like, it really changed my perception of like, oh, well, you can tell a really engaging, cool story that with good relationships and good storytelling within, not just the team, but within the overarching story, that like maybe there is room for some of these teams to do stuff like that. Like Machine Games Indiana Jones, for example, could be one that does that, or whatever In Exile is working on. We know they're working on a first-person RPG. Like, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential in the IP that Microsoft owns to tell good stories. I just hope that they execute it well. And yeah.
LeRon, what do you think?
LeRon's awfully quiet.
Actually, I really don't have. It's honestly hard for me to like weigh in on this, because given that my overall expertise in like the Xbox properties is very lacking, and it's bad for me to say that being an actual invitee to the show right now. But I feel like what we need to do, we need to wait and see how basically they utilize like the companies like everything they've acquired from Bethesda. Because I feel like that's the opportunity right there to give, if the Xbox gamers are asking for their God of War experiences and stuff like that, we need to see what fruit bears from all these acquisitions they've made recently, and
which we've barely seen at this point.
Well, yeah, which we've already seen at this point. What? I'm going to give them what I'm going to call the COVID buffer. Basically, they can use the pandemic right now to say, well, this is the reason why we're not doing this. But there's only so much length of time that we can go through for them to fall back on that. Because right now, when we look at COVID, and I'm not going to beat this horse dead, because we did this last week on the Boss Rush podcast and After Dark. But basically now, with the even though like Omicron is highly infectious, the symptoms and the actual disease itself are not as critical as they were, back in 2020 and 2021. So, with 5 days, you're feeling better, you can come back to work or, do what you got to do and things like that. If you still feel bad after the 5th day, take the time that you need and stuff like that. Real soon, everything's going to shorten up to the fact that, productivity is going to get back out there. So, I'm still taking the wait and see attitude as far as what's going on with because I don't want any of these companies to fail, whether it's Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft. I don't want any of these companies to fail. But if they fail to utilize their talent, that's going to be their biggest problem.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the damning thing that that hurts them. There'll be another. They'll wind up becoming another. Well, Sega was on hardware, but you know what I mean. We've seen publishers come and go. And some of it was just bad design choices. Some of it was just the design that just fell in their lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2022 is going to be a big year for all studios to really showcase what they got and what they've been working on. I imagine a lot of things were kind of delayed to this year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean, 2022 is already going to be like a stacked year as far as because every game that was supposed to come out in late 2020 and throughout 2021, basically got pushed to this year. So like we're looking at a lot of like I feel bad for everybody's like bank accounts and stuff, especially that like work has not been that easy to come by, or everybody's hours been cut.
Work is super easy to come by. You walk out of your house and people are like, "You want a job? You want another job?"
Dude, I went to
$12 an hour to be a shift manager at Arby's. You want that?
No, dude.
What?
Look, we ate dinner at Firehouse Subs tonight, and it said starting wage $14 an hour.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. That was unheard of, like back in 2020.
Yeah,
it really was.
So
honestly, it's about time for crying out loud. But
Yep.
So I don't know. I think there's a lot of great games coming out this year that I would really like to have at some point. There's so many cool games.
And I think we could all admit that we're all, like, the climate of gamers out there are all trying to look for different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely looking for something different from Stoy and Stephanie and LeRon. Like, we're all just different. Like, I know The Last of Us is one of the most beloved games of all time, and I don't like it.
I don't think so.
And I think that's fine. The Last of Us, the first one?
The first one, yeah. The second one, not so much.
Oh, I was talking about the first one. I know the second one is pretty divisive, but
yeah,
I'm talking about the first one.
Yeah.
But anyways, games are fun, guys. Games are supposed to be fun. We all like to play them. That's why we're here.
Get your enjoyment however you want.
Yeah. Play what you love. That's the motto, right? That's right. So, does anybody have anything else they want to say or talk about? How about that 500-hour Dying Light? Speaking of games.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think the developers, Techland, said that technically the game you could beat in with one's playthrough is like about 70 hours if you were to complete all the side missions and stuff like that. But in terms of world building and world telling narrative decisions that can affect the world, we're talking multiple playthroughs, multiple choice changes that can affect everything.
Yeah,
we're talking like over 500 hours. So
yeah, and like people
one and done for me.
people are scoffing at that, but then they go and play like 3,000 hours of Skyrim, which is essentially
yeah.
So I don't know. I think people are blowing that way out of proportion.
3,000 hours. That's like 3,000 hours of Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Yeah.
No, that's good that they're developing so much content, and the fact that they have your decisions actually affect the world around you. That's awesome. Like that's ripe for good story narrative driven gameplay.
Yeah. It's a good time. Good stories. I hope Dying Light is good for people who want to play it.
Yep.
And
bring us another Gears, you cowards.
Yeah, God, give us Gears 6. Hurry up. Although I know the Coalition is working on a project before Gears, I think. So, damn it. It's all right. No, you know what they're doing? They're working on another project until Rod Ferguson decides to leave what's left of Blizzard to come back and finish the Gears trilogy.
Well, yeah.
That's my thoughts on that. And with that, we're gonna wrap the show. Couple of notes here. As of this recording, comedian Bob Saget has passed away at the age of 65. Really sad to see before we started recording today. That was hard to read, I think. So
rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace, Bob Saget. Also, I want to shout out to Jesse, who is taking a leave from the show for a little while. We miss you. We hope you're doing your best, and we love you, and we can't wait till you come back. So, yeah. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast. You can find us on Tuesday mornings on your favorite podcast service. Leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes and Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Visit bossrush.net for all of our content. LeRon, Stephanie, thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate you guys both.
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie, where can we find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me despite my very humble knowledge of all things Microsoft and Xbox.
It's fine. We had a good conversation. It's fine.
It is much appreciated regardless.
I will. It's part of my goals for 2022. So Next time I'll come back, I'll be a master. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Klimov, KLIMOV_author. You can also find articles that I've written on bossrush.net and live Wednesday nights on the Boss Rush podcast.
LeRon.
You can find me everywhere at Exodus803, EXODUS803. So social media, Twitch and YouTube. Definitely, that's my gamer tag. Come hang out with me. Definitely Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/Exodus803 for Crossroads PlayStation Podcast. And what else? I feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing something?
Boss Rush.
Boss Rush.
Oh, yeah.
After Dark.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Boss Rush. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wednesday nights, Boss Rush Podcast and Boss Rush After Dark.
Cool. Stoy.
I am on Twitter with the EXP Cast. We are a video game podcast, part of the Boss Rush Network as well. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EXP Cast. And then you can follow my personal Twitter and Instagram, Stoy, MKE8.
He's got awesome motorcycles.
Yeah, I post motorcycle pictures on my Instagram.
Jesus. You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me hosting the Boss Rush podcast every Wednesday night and part of Standard Definition and After Dark and a plethora of other things happening here on the Boss Rush Network. I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening to this episode. We will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night.
Toodles, dog.
Take care.